Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. JACALYN. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. JACALYN at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Happy Friday, or maybe it's happy Saturday, wherever you are. We're so thrilled to have you here today. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and you're either watching or listening to USA Global TV and radio. Our show today is Authentic Achievements, and we've got quite a show for you. My co-host and friend is joining us from London, and she's got an incredible amount of experience in the business world. We're going to have a little chat with her before we bring out our guest who's joining us from Australia. So let's welcome KIM-ADELE Randall. Hi, Kim.
Hi, Dr. JACALYN. How are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm really good. The sun is shining. You can't help but smile when that happens, can you?
I feel the same way, and obviously I'm 5 hours earlier than you, but I look outside, I was like, oh, it's so beautiful, because I'm in this dark studio for most of the day, and sometimes going right into the early evening. So I see that it is nice out there. So Kim, for people who are joining us for the first time, we have new radio platforms. I'd love to spotlight you and have you give a little bit of information about your backstory, because it's quite interesting. And then we will bring out our guest, as I mentioned, who's joining us, staying up very late and joining us from Australia. So take it away, KIM-ADELE.
Bless you. Thank you so much. So I'm KIM-ADELE. I spent 30 years moving from being a hairdresser into corporate life. I worked my way up to the board, and then had a life-threatening illness and decided it was time to make some changes. So I relaunched as a coach, invested in learning more about how I could help people to achieve their greatest ambitions. And from that, started to do different things. So I now do speaking. I appear on shows like this, and I'm just published my 5th book. I'm writing my 6th, which is called Authentic Achievements. And that's really where we got the idea for the show, which was how we could actually share other people's journeys in how they've achieved what they wanted to achieve. How did they become their authentic selves? And what can they share with others to help us to all grow together? And that's really where this show came from. And I was so lucky that you, lovely Dr. JACALYN, allowed me to come on Global USA TV and co-host with me to help us get other people to share their stories.
Thank you so much. I enjoy it. I think just as much as you. It's a gift to be able to have this platform. And as I mentioned, our guest is staying up late. She's in another time zone, which I think is really cool. And she's a resilience coach and a motivational speaker. So let's bring her out and continue the conversation. I think that would be fun. Her name is Fiona Demark. Hi, Fiona. Hi. Welcome.
Camera button to activate, mute microphone button to activate, press enter.
Oh, I think we might be having a few technical issues. Are you? Oh, we can see you?
Yes, we can see you. Welcome. If you could just take off mute, that would be great.
Try that.
Hi, welcome. So nice to see you.
Thank
Hi.
you.
Thanks for staying up late. I really appreciate that.
It's actually not too bad. It's only 11 o'clock here in Australia, so not too bad.
Oh, but
on a Friday night, I should be out partying somewhere.
I'd be at sleep by 11 o'clock. I know that. So
Normally I would be, trust me.
I'm not sure if you heard KIM-ADELE share a little bit about her backstory, and I think it's perfect that you're here and you're a resilience coach, and you have quite an incredible story yourself. So I'd love for you to just share with our audience a little bit about your background and why it's so important for you to be able to communicate your message and help other people find their resilience.
Mm-hmm. So essentially, I have grown up as legally blind. So I grew up in very remote outback Australia. And so I guess learned to be resilient quite early on because we didn't have a lot of resources. There was no special schools, special services. our closest capital city where I used to get some medical treatment was about 5.5 hours away. And so it was quite a sort of a big journey to go to the city and see the medical specialists. And essentially, it was all about sort of carving out where I could fit into the world and where the world fitted around me too, I guess. And so it taught me from a very early age that I had to, see things from a different perspective, I guess. And that taught me to, I guess, be less judgmental of others and be really compassionate and, thoughtful of what other people's circumstances were. And it gradually led me into studying social work and then the resilience coaching and, sharing a lifetime of helping others.
Well, congratulations. That's outstanding. It really is.
Amazing. I mean, what a journey. And you must have had so many experiences along that way of having to build your own resilience that you're now able to help other people see how they can build their own. What was it that first got you into wanting to be a resilience coach? So you mentioned, being in social work and then moving over, but was there a particular trigger?
The resilience coaching, I think, was the end result of me just going, okay, there's still a gap with where I'm at the moment in terms of where I'm helping people. So the social work is quite structured and, quite I guess, consistent look at someone's, perspectives on where they're at the moment, and doesn't necessarily always lead them towards a happy outcome in a future. And I found that the coaching was actually that extra spot where I could go, okay, well, let's take into account what's happened before, but also keep moving forward towards what you want to achieve for the future and work out how you have the resources or where you can gain the resources to actually make that happen for yourself.
I love it. It's so true, isn't it? I think there was a study done by Harvard. They were looking at people that had got goals. And in this study of the people that responded, only 13% actually had a goal, so actually knew what it was that they wanted. And only 3% of them had a goal and a plan, even if it wasn't a very good plan, but they actually had a written down goal and a written down plan. And yet what they found was when they came back and looked at the overall achievements of that group later on, I think it was a couple of years later, the 3% that had both a goal and a plan, even if it wasn't the one they ended up using, had outperformed their next closest group by over 10 times. So people to just kind of formulate it, isn't it? To kind of get it out of their head and say, this is what I want, is such a gift to be able to help them with. What's the thing you love most about your job?
Seeing that change in people, definitely. And like getting people to realize that it isn't just, we all have the thoughts about all the things that we want to be and want to do and want to have and want to achieve. And actually putting it down on paper or making it a conversation with somebody, like you said, gets it out of your head and actually makes it a reality. And then you've got something really concrete to work towards. And I think seeing people actually have that wow moment of, oh, okay, this is what I really want. These are the things that I need to do to get there is really amazing. Just those moments where you just see them light up and they're just like, wow. And just seeing them, even just making those small little successes along the way is really exciting.
Yes, absolutely. Because we know all those little successes build on each other and help us take the next big step. And Fiona, I'm wondering if you can share with our audience, what are some of the things that you did or that you do to prepare yourself before you do public speaking?
Public speaking is actually really interesting. Everybody is sort of quite often very terrified of public speaking. In fact, actually, they would, put it right up there with one of the things that is like the worst possible thing that could happen. And I've been very lucky in the sense that when I was studying at university, I was, given the opportunity to do a lot of public speaking and in fact needed to do it to pass my degree. And after a while, I just went, okay, yep, all I need to do now is hone those skills. And I think for me, it's about having that energy to get up and share my story with somebody else, and to be able to say, hey, I'm here and there's a reason why I'm here, and I'm really passionate about what I've got to speak about. And I think that's what gives me the energy. And, you know, not to say that I don't have those little butterflies in my tummy. And I think if you don't have those, I think that's a bad thing as well. I think it's good to have that little bit of you know, fear, but to be able to contain that fear and channel it into something that gives you the energy, rather than just going, oh my gosh, this is so overwhelming. And so, you know, to take the big breath when you get on stage and just go, okay, I'm here. I know what I'm doing. What's the worst that could happen? Okay, well, you know, I could make a mistake. And generally it's only you that knows that you make that mistake. Nobody else really knows unless you really screw up. And then, you know, you laugh about it and move on. Like it's not the end of the world. And so just to have that perspective, I think, is really important, and to just go with the flow and really enjoy what you do, because, you know, I've chosen to do that, and there's a reason why I've chosen to do it. So I need to embrace that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. I was actually thinking yesterday, I remember when I was in school and I had to take a public speaking course, and I was literally terrified. And I look at myself now and think it's so funny. And my point being that I'm sure everyone has those fears at some time, because we feel we're going to be judged. And meanwhile, we're judging ourselves the harshest. So I would just encourage everyone out there to use your voice and step into the light, and to take your fear and use it as your potential for something new and great.
I love that. Such great advice. And actually, the reason I'm smiling from both of you is actually yesterday I was doing a public speech, and I remember it was about kind of overcoming your imposter, and I was stood there feeling like a massive imposter as I got on the stage. Going, oh my goodness, what am I doing? Why should I be here? But funnily enough, you get on, you share your story, and it resonates with somebody. And even if it just resonates with that one person, it's worth taking your fear and swallowing it down and going, I'm just going to try really, really hard. And I'd like to say it gets easier, but you're so right, Fiona, every time there's that element of those nerves. But I think that's because we want to make a difference, isn't it? You want to leave people feeling like, you know, they've given you their valuable time. The most precious gift in the world is time. And you want to make sure that they don't feel like, you know, I've got a saying here, it was like, you don't want it to feel like a waste of makeup, do you? Like, why did I do that? The last half an hour, I wish I'd not bothered. So I think those bits are important, but you're so right, Dr. JACALYN, getting out there, sharing your voice, making sure that you get your story heard is so crucial. So Fiona, you must have learned so many things, but if you could go back and give yourself any advice to your younger self, what would it be?
To be kind to myself and not to worry about what other people say, to remove that judgment, and you know, to know that I have it in my power to be happy, but that comes down to me. And no matter what anybody else has an impression of myself about, as long as I'm happy with myself, then that's all that matters.
I love that.
Well said. I think globally, we get so hung up on numbers, and especially when we're doing a speech, or we're doing this, even how many people are watching, how many people are listening, or how many people paid attention during my presentation. And I feel like when it comes to numbers, there's only one, and it's the number one. And that's if you can influence, or motivate, inspire one person, then that's what it's all about. We can't expect to touch each and every one, but we can, one at a time.
That reminds me of a quote of which I found recently, which I love, if you don't mind me sharing, which was, I'd rather be somebody's shot of whiskey than everybody's cup of tea. And having, you know, as an English person, we could argue about how we make our tea as much as we could politics and religion. So you're never going to be everybody's cup of tea, but we try to be, don't we? And actually, instead, if we can just, to your point, Dr. JACALYN, if we can just inspire one person, then that's worth us doing. And you're so right also, Fiona, if we can't be kind to ourselves, we can't really be kind to anybody else, because we're coming at it from a cup that's not full. And that gets really hard, doesn't it? But making that change is so significant, to be able to be kind to yourself without it feeling selfish. So can you share any tips with us on how you would encourage people to find that self-compassion, that kindness to themselves?
I think you just need to look for that talent, that unique gift that you've got to share with the world, and to be happy doing that for yourself and then potentially for other people as well. But mainly just to make yourself happy. I mean, like you said, like, it's sometimes we get so caught up in that, have to get up, have to, have breakfast, have to get the kids to school, have to, go to work, have to feed the dog, have to, do this, do that, hang the washing out, blah, 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 blah. And then you get to the end of the day and you're so exhausted and you've taken no time for yourself. Tomorrow comes, you get up, you do the same thing again, and you just leave yourself with like you said, that empty cup. Like, it's like, you're totally exhausted and then you have nothing to give to anybody else. And so actually structuring some time into your diary to say, okay, well, amongst all of those other busy things, let's take some time out to, go and watch a movie or read a book or, have a bath or watch my favorite TV show or whatever it happens to be. That one thing that ticks your box. It might be that you are like, taking the dog for a walk, but, taking that moment to relax and just chill out and listen to some of your favorite music at the same time. So even if you are sort of, having to combine things together, it's still a case of working out what it is that makes you happy, makes you joyful, and makes, you tick. So then you can give some of that, energy back to yourself, I guess. And so then you've got that to continue on with doing all the things that you need to do.
I love that. It's great advice. One of my friends, her favourite colour is pink, and she puts in pink time in her diary every day, which is specifically in her diary, which is to do something that brings her joy. And she's great at it, and I always think, what an amazing thing to do, and then I'm rubbish at doing it myself, I'll be honest. I think it's great. I would love to be more disciplined, because you do need to do that recharge, don't you?
You definitely do, because there's so many things pulling at you. So a question I have for both of you: when I was growing up, I heard many times, and it wasn't just directed to me, it was kind of in general to the generation. I'm 59, and I heard, you're part of the me generation, where it's all about you. And I'm wondering what your thoughts are today. How do we keep that in perspective when we are fighting for our self-care and inner peace, and yet at the same time, we don't want to be selfish. We want to be selfless, but also compassionate for ourselves. Fiona, would you like to start?
I think you do need to be somewhat selfish. Yeah, you do need to take that time for yourself, and not selfish in a bad way, but selfish in a way that you respect yourself. Because if you don't respect yourself and you don't give your time and you don't give yourself the balance that you need, then you don't have the ability to give all the things that you want to the world. And I think, quite often we're caught up in this whole, you should be this, you should be that kind of society. And I think it comes back to that whole concept of just being kind to yourself and not worrying about the judgment of others, and doing what is right for you, because in your heart, you know what is right for you. And, there's no amount of logic and whatever else that can come along and try and battle with that. But at the end of the day, it's you that is left with either feeling drained and terrible and not able to sort of, contribute, or it's the person that's left feeling full of energy and positivity and being able to sort of, bounce back from those challenges that will inevitably come into our lives. And so I think, you kind of owe it to yourself to actually be selfish and, stop branding that as a bad thing and going, okay, yep, this is actually what I need to do for me.
Thank you so much. KIM-ADELE, would you like to comment?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. It's hard, isn't it? And I used to be dreadful at, I was brought up in a similar generation. I'm like 50 this next year, and it was very much, girls should be seen and not heard. I failed dismally at that one. And you shouldn't be too me. So I went totally the other way. So I was never me. Actually, that's not a great place to be either, because you have no boundaries, and therefore you get hurt and you do get drained. And unfortunately, sometimes then the body will force you to make a change. I believe that's why I ended up with my illness. It was going, if you won't stop, I'll stop you. It's like, I will make you take a breath. So now I try instead and look and say, it's okay to do something that's right for me, as long as I'm not being unkind to somebody else. And it took me a long time to realize that it's not unkind to not want to do something somebody else does. They can still do it. You don't have to do it with them. That's not meaning you've got to always go with somebody else's choice. So now I try and look at it and say, am I being kind to everybody? So including myself, which means I don't have to go and do things that really I don't want to do. But I don't stop other people from doing them either. And I guess that's what I try and do with my little girl, is say, as long as you're being kind and you're trying hard, the world can't ask any more of you. That's all it can ask. And we learn. Every day we learn. I think for me, what's important is that we don't use labels to define, and we all use labels to define. And I see it with my little girl all the time. She's 5, and she'll come back and go, I'm not good at this. What do you mean you're not good at this? You're 5. Why would you say that to yourself? Because when you're saying that to yourself, it will become true. I said, you're not good at it. You're learning, and every day you get better. Look how much better you are at it today than you were last week. But don't define yourself with a label. And I try and take that advice on myself. When I tell myself I'm not good at certain things, I go, no, I'm learning them. Something I could do is learning a little faster than I am doing. Learning them, because it changes the psyche, doesn't it? When we change it from I can't do this to I'm learning to do this, then actually it's okay to be making the odd mistake and developing, because that is how we learn. It's how we learn and how we grow. So I think there's a lot to be said around changing how we label things for ourselves and for each other. That could be a huge impact for us all, I think.
Absolutely. I think it's all part of the journey. And it's that self-awareness at the same time as that following your intuition and giving yourself grace.
I love that. That's so true. So Dr. JACALYN, how have you moved from that? So, you were saying you were very much had that leveled at you. So how have you now been able to move to a place where you can act selflessly?
Thank you for asking. Well, back then when I was told that, I made a lot of decisions to do things for other people because that's what I was told. And whether I wanted to do it or not, I was always putting everyone in front of me. And now today I realize that I can still be there for other people, but I have to be there for me first. And of course, I've had a lot of illness in my life as well, which was kind of a wake-up call. And now I'm able to look at things from a different perspective and evaluate, if I say yes, is this serving me? Is it serving someone else? What is the main purpose of doing this or committing to something? And of course, as you know, this platform, we're all about helping other people. So that is my main goal, is to present hope and inspiration for people. But at the same time, I have to be able to take care of myself and follow my own intuition. So I think I'm looking at things from a different perspective than I was when I was younger.
I love that. It's balance, isn't it? It's about finding that balance. And often we forget to put ourselves in balance because we're doing these other bits for
Definitely. We're going to take a quick break and hear from some of our sponsors, and then we'll be back. And it's Mental Health Awareness Month here in the States. So we're going to play a couple of videos that are focused in that area. So stay with us. We'll be right back with KIM-ADELE and Fiona.
Any one of us can feel lonely, anytime, anywhere. We can be surrounded by people and still feel lonely. Some of us are more at risk than others, but research has shown that millions of us feel lonely some or all of the time. And long-term loneliness can make us feel anxious or depressed and have a serious effect on our mental health. Yet while millions of us experience feelings of loneliness, we can still find it hard to talk about. 1 in 5 of us hide our feelings of loneliness from others. It can be hard, but there are things we can do for ourselves and for others. Acknowledging we've all been there is a start. And by coming together, we can tackle loneliness. We can also help influence policy, support each other, and help prevent mental health problems. This Mental Health Awareness Week, we want to let everyone living with loneliness know that their mental health matters. And together, we can make change happen.
Take a moment.
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 So I've had the privilege of photographing some incredible people over the years, and during each shoot I've asked the subject to close their eyes and take themselves to a peaceful place just for a few seconds. I've found that this really helps to refresh the energy between the camera and the subject. They had an energy that was quite special and quite different from the rest of the shoot. The collection grew, and now it feels the right time to use it for something good. I think it'd be amazing if we could help to raise awareness and involve people in the discussion about mental health. So what we're asking to do is for everyone to upload their own self-portraits. All of these portraits will become part of a massive artwork. I'm really excited to see this project go from hundreds of pictures to thousands of pictures. Essentially, an ever-evolving artwork that says we're all in this together.
Close your eyes and take a moment.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. JACALYN KERBECK, and our show today is Authentic Achievements. I just want to give a quick shout out and thank you to Helena Shard and Ian Palm Turner for sharing those sponsorships with us. I really feel that those ads that we just ran are so meaningful, and hopefully people will be able to listen or watch and take something away from it, because I know many people are feeling lonely, they are feeling isolated. But we're here to tell you you're not alone, and you're welcome to come onto this platform and share your story. I also want to say hello to Janetta Barry, who is watching the show from the UK, and also to my sister Debbie, who is listening to the show from the car. So thank you for being here. And joining me again is KIM-ADELE Randall from the UK, and our special guest, she is a resilience coach and a motivational speaker, joining us from Australia, Fiona Demark. Hi, welcome back.
Hi, both.
Hi.
So during those ads that I just ran, the theme is really taking a moment, pausing, reflecting, and then also when you're feeling lonely, to know that there are organizations out there that can help you. There are things that you can do. So as a resilience coach, Fiona, do you ever have clients who are experiencing either one of those two things, where it's been difficult for them to actually stop, pause, take a moment, reflect, or they've been going through some type of loneliness, isolation as related to the pandemic or otherwise?
Absolutely. A bit of both, actually. And I think we all get so caught up in that busy everyday life that we forget to take those moments and just breathe and relax. And, you know, quite often just take a second to be grateful for the things that we do have. Quite often we're so pursuant of the future goals, and coaching is definitely all about setting goals and having a view for the future, but at the same time being very grateful for what you have in your life right now and the journeys that have brought you to this moment in time and created your identity. So I think that's one thing that is really, really important, is especially even if you are having one of those dark moments, to be able to just take even the simplest thing, like going and standing outside and having some sunshine, or, fresh a breath of fresh air, or going and making yourself a nice cup of tea, or it might not be a huge thing, but just something even small that you can be grateful for in your day. And loneliness, I think, it touches us all at times. And for me, especially, I know I'm not very good with my my own company. I know certainly as I get older, I am more so, but especially as a young person, I hated not having something to do and someone to talk to. And it's definitely been a journey of working out how to circumnavigate that loneliness at times, I think. And especially when I moved from my little country town to live in Sydney to do university, I moved by myself. And so while I was sort of restructuring some new friendships, there were definitely some times where I, got quite in that little tunnel of doom, I guess. And you just sort of think, oh my gosh, like this is so difficult and I don't have anyone. And then I realized, okay, well, look, someone might not be physically here with me, but I can always write a letter or, reach out on the telephone or, obviously that's just showing my age a little bit. These days we've got, instant chat, or, you can even go and find some new friends on Facebook or whatever. I mean, reaching out to people and connecting is probably easier these days than it has ever been. And I think no one should be alone. And I think, we all have an opportunity to make sure that we're reaching out to other people. And so if you know of somebody that is by themselves, to take that moment in your day to actually reach out to them and, drop them a message or, give them a phone call, or if you're in a situation where you can drop by and have a cup of tea and say hi and spend some time. I think it's really important, especially for our elderly population. I think quite often they sort of, get left by the wayside a little bit, and it's really important to make sure that we don't forget them.
Really good points. Thank you so much for sharing that. KIM-ADELE, have you ever experienced loneliness?
Absolutely. And I think unfortunately we all do. And I think sometimes it's also worth remembering we can feel lonely when we've got people around us. So loneliness isn't always necessarily about being on our own. It's about feeling that disconnection, feeling like we're not part of something, even if we might be surrounded by lots of people. So great advice, Fiona. And one of the things I try and do now is when somebody pops into my head, instead of what I used to do is go, I haven't really got time to talk to them just yet. They pop into my head, I literally just send a quick message and go, just thinking of you, hope all's well. And just send it off, because then even if we don't have more of a conversation, that might just be enough for them to know that somebody is thinking of them. And I do it that randomly. It is if they come in my head, there's no structure or thought, but I trust my gut that I'm thinking of them for a reason, and maybe that might be the piece. But I think also we've got a great gift to be able to brighten people's day. One of the things that I now force myself to do, and I found it really uncomfortable when I first started, was if I see somebody that looks like they've dressed beautifully, or their hair looks great, or they've got like a lovely piece of jewelry on, I'll say, even if I don't know them, I'm the weirdo that's on the tube going, can I just say your hair looks beautiful? And the other people are probably going, oh my goodness, it's a bit awkward. You're not supposed to talk on the tube. Does she not know? But it's amazing the impact that has, and the amount of friendships that I've now got where people have gone, I really needed that today. I don't know if you knew, I was actually looking really sad, or I was on the train the other week and this lady looked like she was about to have a really bad day. So I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to ask if everything's okay, and I'm about to go and get a cup of tea. Maybe she would like one. And we ended up having a chat, and she messaged me later on that day, said, do you know what? You really helped me. I'd got a big presentation at work. I was really stressed about it. But the fact that you took the time to just chat to me is just what I needed. So I think sometimes we let our own fear that people are going to think that we're a bit odd going up and saying, you look beautiful today, stop us from doing that. But that might just be the thing that makes them smile. So I'd like to encourage the world to just be a bit more open with each other. And if somebody looks lovely or has something nice, or has said something that's great, just thank them for it, because they've made an impact on your day, and you can hopefully make an impact on theirs.
And acknowledging people that many people don't acknowledge. So, the cleaner at the shopping centre that comes and goes past you, or the person in the office that's emptying the garbage bins, or, you know, the person at the checkout shop at the supermarket that you're just going to, instead of just, hi, here's my stuff, take my change, see you later, like to actually stop and have that conversation and, how are you, you know, and find out just that little bit about them, and, you know, take that extra 2 minutes to make them feel like they're a real person rather than just an extra person that's there doing their job and no one cares.
I love that. It's so true. My little girl does. Whenever we go to the shop, she always says thank you. Even if we've been to the soup, I always say thank you if whoever served her, but she'll always say thank you as well. And they much love it from her than from me. You know, she's 5 and she's cute. They're like, oh, isn't she lovely?
You know, that's really important too, because my daughters are now 16 and 18, wow. And they do that, and they've done that from, you know, once again, probably picked it up from mum when they were little. And now they both have impeccable manners and are really great in social situations because they've learned those skills. So it's really important that we pass that on to the next generation.
I love that.
That's so important. And Fiona, it's interesting because our next show is the power of etiquette and manners. So I love that you just brought that up. You know, a couple of comments that I have. The first one is, many times when we reach out to someone with an act of kindness, they may not receive it that well, or we may not see any reaction from them at all. But that doesn't mean that we can't continue to do that. And I'll give an example. I like to go for a walk, and usually every day. Today's one of the days I can't because of the schedule. But when I do, I see the same people walking around this 2.5 mile area. And I say hello to everyone. And it's the same people pretty much. And there's a group of people, they're not together, but they don't say hello. They won't wave. They won't acknowledge. So I don't care. Every time I still say, hello, good morning, how are you? And I've noticed 2 of them are now saying hello back. So I think it was maybe when I first started doing it, they thought there's something wrong with me wearing a giant hat and big sunglasses and long sleeves when it's 90 degrees Fahrenheit outside. But now, to me, it doesn't matter. I'm extending a courtesy, and now I see these 2 people giving it back. So I think that that's important, that we don't have expectations. And then also, for example, if someone cuts you off while you're driving, maybe they have a true emergency. There's something they really have to get to, or maybe you just have issues that are going on. So don't judge other people is my point. We don't know what someone else is going through. We can still extend the courtesy and the kindness and the grace, and we may not get it back from that person, but ultimately it will come back to us.
I love that. Such great points. I always say to Scarlett, we can't choose how somebody behaves towards us, but we can choose how we behave. And that's the only thing we can control. So we should choose wisely. We should try and, like you say, be kind. And I don't know how many people you say hello to that didn't think you meant them, because nobody's actually done that, been kind to them. Hello, and once they realise, she does it every day, she does need me. There's nobody else here. So they actually feel safe to do it back, don't they? So I love that. It's about what we ripple out into the world, isn't it? And eventually it comes back. Great point.
Absolutely. Yes, thank you. We're actually at the end of our show for today, which the time's go by so quickly, and we have back-to-back shows today. So Fiona, I would love for you to share with our audience who are listening on the radio. We have a banner up for you and your website, also how people can email you. But if you could just verbally share that information with our audience, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
Yep, lovely. So my website is www.fionademark.com.au. Email address info@fionademark. Oh gosh, I can't even say my own name now. info@fionademark.com.au. And I'm all over the socials on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, all of those places. And my surname is nice and easy. Think about Denmark without the N, and you've got me.
Thank you so much, Fiona. Who would you like to reach out to? Who should contact you?
Anybody who is interested in, I guess, a little bit of a different perspective, different if they're feeling stuck, if they would like to speak to somebody in relation to overcoming challenges, adversity, becoming more resilient, and always open for speaking gigs as well.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And thank you so much for being here as well. And we wish you a
Thank you for
pleasant
having
evening
me.
of sleep.
Thank you.
Your Friday.
And feel free to come back and see us on this or any of our other shows. We have approximately 25 live shows each week. So you could definitely come and book in on one of the other ones as well.
Lovely. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye for now. KIM-ADELE, I would love for you to share with our audience how people can reach out to you and who you would like to contact you.
Of course. Thank you so much. So if you want to get in touch, you can get me at kim@KIM-ADELE.com or check us out at www.authenticachievements.com. And I basically either do speaking or coaching, or if you've got a story that you'd like to share and you'd like to join us here on the show, please do get in touch, because we just want to be able to get people's voices heard.
Thanks, Kim. Can you also tell people about your newsletter and some of the things that you have posted over on LinkedIn?
Oh, yeah, of course. And thank you for the prompt. So we do a newsletter every week where we share not just this show, but other shows that we do, podcasts, and also business tips and advice. So really helping organizations and entrepreneurs to be able to overcome challenges and learn from each other. So if you would like to be part of our newsletter or like to get a copy of it, find me on LinkedIn. It's KIM-ADELE Randall. You can connect with me there, and I would love to continue to learn and share with you.
Well, thank you very much, KIM-ADELE. I really appreciate it. It was nice seeing you.
Oh, it's always a joy, Dr. JACALYN. Thank you so much. And I know for you, it's still Friday morning. For me, it's Friday afternoon. And for Fiona, it was Friday night. So we really are tripping the time zones here. So I wish you a fabulous Friday and rest of weekend. And the same to everybody watching and listening. Thank you, and have an amazing weekend.
Thank you. You have a beautiful weekend as well. And hello to Scarlett.
Oh, she says hello back. You take care.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, everyone, for watching or listening. Hello also to Desiree Richardson, who is watching. So we have 3 of our team members who are supporting our work. I really appreciate that. Also, I just want to share with you, in case you missed the announcement, yes, this is my new book, Adversity to Awesome. This is available on Amazon, either an ebook or paperback. This is 12 chapters. And the first chapter is my story, something that happened to me that I kept to myself for decades. And I'm now putting it out there in hopes that it will inspire someone else to come forward. And the other authors from around the world, they've shared their stories as well. The ebook's 99 cents. So I made it affordable, hopefully, for as many people as possible, that you can find hope and inspiration. So please go over again to Amazon and pick up your copy. You can search Dr. JACALYN KERBECK or Adversity to Awesome. All right, our next show is coming up. It's The Power of Etiquette and Manners. And I love this show because I am all about having us as a global community really doing what we can to be kind and gracious to each other. And that really is emotional intelligence and etiquette and manners. So do stay with us. I'm going to run over to the other studio. We'll be back in just about 15 minutes. So stay with us wherever you are. And if you are joining us for the first time and you're on our YouTube channel, which is USA Global TV, please do click subscribe so that we can have you with us for as many of those shows as possible. Thanks again. We'll be back shortly. Take care.